Hello, today we're going to be talking about if statements. If statements are a programming tool that you look at almost any programming language out there, they're going to have an if statement of some kind because they're just so powerful. They give our programs the ability to make decisions and to handle different scenarios. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk today about. Okay, the kind of the learning goals of this lesson and of the whole unit, I guess. You'll be able to correctly create an if statement. Okay, you'll also be able to determine output whether it is true or false. Okay, if I give you an expression, you'll be able to say, "Oh, that would be true. That would be false." Okay, you'll see that in our quiz next week. But this is kind of helping. This goal is going to be in our if statement number one assignment, and this will be in our quiz next week. So moving on. In class, if you missed it, it's not a huge deal, but this is just kind of what we did. We did an if statement activity. Um, if you want to do this, feel free, I guess, at home or you want to set up and do it in class wherever you're watching it. So if you have seen Toy Story, stand by the entrance. Otherwise, or else, stand by the whiteboard. Okay, that's all. That's what an if statement is. If this is true, then do this. If it's not true, then do this. Okay, that's the basics of an if statement. So for this one, if you have a brother, sit down. So what would we know about all the people who are still standing up? We know that those people don't have a brother. Okay. If you have blue eyes or brown hair, stand on one leg. Kind of the same deal. If you are an MHA student, yell "I'm awesome." So everybody in the class yells "I'm awesome" on that one. Okay. This one's kind of adding some more. So this one has an or in it. If you have an A or an N in your name, stand by the entrance. Okay. So when we did in class, actually, almost everybody was by the door. There was only one kid who didn't fit that category. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah. Anyway, so this is kind of fun, but that I'm just hoping to get you guys to understand that the basics of if is on. What's the definition of if? If you were going to write a definition for if, it's kind of hard, especially if you don't use the word if. Okay. So one of the big words that goes along with if is condition. Okay. If this condition is met, then this is going to happen. Okay. Like sometimes our parents probably would say, if you have good grades, then you can go to the party, or if you eat all your veg. I tell my son all the time, if you eat vegetables, then you can have a treat later. Okay. In the event that my son eats his vegetables, he can have a treat after the meal's over. Okay. That's you have to really kind of understand what the word if means, especially in this program. Okay, so here it is. Here's a very basic if statement. We're going to kind of I'll write this out in REPL here in a second. If 5 is less than 10, if you kind of read this in English, if 5 is less than, remember that from our math class, less than. If 5 is less than 10, we want the program to print out "I am awesome." Okay, and that's as simple as it gets. Okay, so let's just go ahead and go type that into REPL really quick. So if 5 is less than 10, colon, don't forget that colon. A lot of students forget that. Hit enter, and you'll notice how that is kind of tabbed over. Okay, it should automatically do that, but if it doesn't, or you get messed up, you should always be able to tab over it. It's kind of a programming rule. You have to, for if statements, you should be tabbed over. Okay, now I'm going to do print "I am awesome." Okay, so I hit run. What's going to happen? "I'm awesome." Okay, why did this print off? Because 5 is less than 10. But if I change this 5 to a 0, so now if 50 is less than 10, if I hit run, what's going to happen? Is it going to run? What do you think? See, nothing happens. This condition is now false. That way, that means nothing's going to happen down here. Okay, but if we change this back to, say, 1, then it would run again, and it would be true that time. Okay. So let's see what else we got here. Okay, so that's super simple. Now we're going to kind of build on that and make it kind of more applicable. Because, for example, 5 is always going to be less than 10. So this doesn't make any sense. There's no use for it yet, right? But we're getting there. So hold on. Okay, so for this example, we're now using variables instead of just numbers. So x is equal to 8, y is equal to 12. They're setting up variables. So if x is less than y, print "Go Eagles." So if we type this into REPL, we would see the same result. Because 8 is less than 12, we can it'll print off "Go Eagles." And feel free to be typing this into REPL and practicing. I highly recommend it, so you would do well on your assignment. So let's kind of break this down. Okay, so this is how to write an if statement. Okay, so we always have the word if. Then we have values. Okay, that could be the variables we just showed, or it can be numbers, it can be string. Uh, Value can be variables, numbers, or text. Okay, it can be really different things. Okay, what you want to have happen if true. Okay, so whatever you put after the colon, don't forget the colon, whatever you have after the value, what you want to have happen if true. Okay, and the conditions that you can have in between those two values are equal to. That's saying, are these two values equal to each other, less than, greater than, or greater than, equal to, or less than, equal to. And then what you want to have it do afterwards is you can have it do print. You can have basically a whole separate program inside your if statement. You can have 20 lines of code that will only run if the condition is met. Otherwise, all that code inside the if statement won't run. Okay. So what is an if statement? What is it trying to do? Really short and simple. It's allowing the program to make a decision depending on the data on the test. Okay. What data is the if statement given, and it's going to make a decision or handle a scenario depending on what it is given. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and try this. Pause the video and see if you can do this. Okay, write an if statement that tests to see if 8530 is greater than 909. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video if you want. Okay, so hopefully you got a chance to do that. I'll go ahead and run through that really quick. Okay, so I'm going to enter down here. So going back to our slide, how do we create our if statement? First, we always have the word if. Let's see, 8530, let me just follow along. 8530, we're taking this English sentence and translating it into code. If 85 is greater than, don't get your greater than or less than equal, it's messed up, is greater than 909, colon, don't forget that colon, enter down, print, I am brave. All right, is it going to run? What do you think? Happen. I am brave. Why did I am brave print off? Because that is definitely bigger than 909. Okay. One more example I want to walk through here. This is what's called a string example. Okay. It works the same way. Instead of numbers on this one, we have what's called a string. Okay. That MHS is the data type string. So we're setting x equal to MHS. And then we're going to do a if statement that says if x is, this is, again, it doesn't really make sense because it's always going to equal MHS. Oh, it's giving me an error code. What did I do wrong? You've got to have that double equal sign. When we're setting up a variable, it's one equal sign, but for we're setting up, if we're testing, we've got to have that double equal sign. Okay, and then print go Eagles. Okay, it works. Okay, go Eagles. It worked because x is equal to MHS. Okay, but if I went here and did MHS lowercase, is it going to work? No, because those are not exactly the same. They're very similar, very close. It's just the same as 11 and 12. Okay. What about this? Let me just show this at you real quick. Let's see what that does. Is that going to be equal? No. What? They're 11 and 11. Okay. They have to both be numbers. Now they're both numbers. Go Eagles. Okay. I think. Okay, one last thing before I let you go, so you can get into your if statement 1 assignment. So this is where an if statement really comes in handy. So far, no matter 1 is always going to be less than 10. This is always going to be bigger than that. 11 is always going to be equal to 11. But what if we allow our users to input numbers? That way we have no idea what's going to happen, okay? So go ahead and please be following along with this. You'll need to know how to do this for your assignments, okay? So now, I have two variables set up. We're asking for a number. Don't forget the int. That's what makes it a number. Now we're going to do an if statement. Okay, try to do it without looking. We're just going to do if. We're going to just compare to see if num1 is greater than num2. If num1 is greater than num2, then print the first number is bigger. Always have your English hat on. I'll make it look nice. Okay, now it's asking me for a number. I'm going to put in 50 for this first time, and then 25. The first number is bigger, okay? Let's see what happens if I do it the other way. If I do 25, then 50. It didn't do anything because those values are getting stored inside those variables, and then they're being compared, okay? And then you could do an else and do a couple other things, but that's as simple as we're going to get today, okay? There is one more on this slideshow if you want to go find it in your on the calendar. You could try doing a few more practice ones, but again, in summary, an if statement is allowing the program to make a decision. Up to this point, it could really only do exactly what it told it to. It couldn't handle a decision. Okay, it couldn't really. You can get user input, but now it can actually do something with our user input besides print it off and do math. But anyway, hopefully this was helpful. If statements are a huge fundamental program we'll be doing on an amusement park at the beginning of next term, and it's going to be a doozy. So please, please, please make sure you practice this, understand the concepts, rewatch the video. This is a huge concept that you need to understand. You guys are awesome. Keep on believing.